Hello and welcome to On the Wrist. Today we're doing something very special. We're building a DIY Watch Club watch. I got this as a gift, as a wedding present from two of my great friends, thanks Peter and Taylor. And I have always wanted to do one of these, and I am super excited to give it a shot. I actually don't know which watch this is, so we'll find out as we go. I did do some research ahead of time, and it says it should take approximately 2 hours to do this, but we'll see what happens. After I build the watch, I'll give a quick review of the watch itself, the value of the watch versus the cost of the kit, and just my overall opinion on the experience of doing a DIY watch club. So let's get right into it. Open this up first, I guess. Got a whole range of tools. Looks like a little pad to build up, work on. What's this? No explanation, let's take a look-see. Finger cots. So it looks like it's the Mosel Series watch. So I'm gonna go to DIY Watch Club and find the set of instructions. Now, it looks like there is a QR code to scan, but I am going to follow them on my laptop because I think it's easier. So let's pull up the instructions. All right, so here I have the DIY Watch Club website that it brings you to, and I will click here on the Mosel Series instructions. And it brings you to a page that is a step-by-step guide, easy to follow. I like that it has a lot of pictures. It has actually videos for each section, especially some of the tricky parts, which is nice. And overall, relatively easy to follow. So let's see how I do. The first step is to open up all the parts and get them ready. All right, take that out. So the case looks like it's got clear exhibition on the back and nice rounded dome, blue crown. Here I suspect we have the hands or the dial. Oop. Looks like, yep, the internal dial. Maybe this will be the hands. Yep. Here are the hands. Looks like we maybe have a choice of which ones we want to use. And here is the movement. Looks pretty nice, skeletonized completely. Very interesting pattern. It's hard to tell. Oh, it's got a rotor, so it is automatic. So we'll set that aside. And then last but not least, what do we have here? Probably the straps. All right, so we've got a nice black leather strap to go with it. All right, let's set these things up. So because I've done some watch repair before, I sped through a lot of these steps. But I did have to relearn how to install and remove a stem. That's one of the more challenging parts for me in this build. But then I did discover one thing about the watch.
Angle required.
Oh no.
The assembly up into the case like this.
Back came cracked.
Once the dial clears the tube.
That's a shame.
Aligned to 3 o'clock at the...
After realizing that part was broken, I kept on moving and I felt like I was going at a really good pace, but I realized in my haste I made one critical mistake. So let's check to see if the functions work, so we'll wind it. Here, nice positive wind. Pull the crown out, set the time. Oh, no, see, we've made a mistake. The minute hand is underneath this outer ring. So we have to fix that. Now, watching out for that issue, I was able to complete the watch, this time so the way the hands could move. All right, now that we've built it, let's go over the specs of the watch itself. So the diameter is 38.5 millimeters. The case is 316L stainless steel. The crystal is listed as domed acrylite 8N, which is an acrylic crystal. The movement is a Miyota 8N24 with an accuracy of -20 plus 40 seconds per day, and it has a 42-hour power reserve. Overall, visually, I quite like the look of this watch. The skeletonized portion of it, I surprisingly like. Sometimes skeletonized watches are a little much for me, but I think this one does it quite well. The movement itself has some nice finishing. The surfaces have some grain to it, and some of the surfaces are also polished, which matches nicely with the case itself. Every surface in the movement is touched, which makes it pleasant to look at. Let's get a couple shots on the wrist. Here you have it on my 7¼ inch wrist. The 38.5 is kind of nice for the dress watch, supposed to be a little slimmer, fit a little tighter. The strap's pretty comfortable. And overall, I quite like the look of this watch. I really like the mirror polish around this outer bezel, and I like the way the lugs look, sort of coming off with a cutoff here rather than just a smooth transition to the case. So overall, really nice look. Now, before I talk about the value of the watch, let's do a quick review of my experience in the kit, because I think part of the value of this watch comes from your experience doing the build and also some of the tools you get afterwards. So the toolkit that comes with it is quite nice. I really like, even in the basic version, this nice box. Everything has a nice place for it. This toolkit probably is in the order of $20 to $30 if you bought the parts individually from Amazon, but I do like the presentation, and it's a basic set of tools that's helpful if you're just a regular watch collector. These spring bar tools seem kind of interesting. Tweezers are always good to have, and a nice little mat to if you want to change your strap on or do other basic watch repair. The case back opener can be useful, though I do find I typically like the 3-pronged larger ones for more heavy-duty dive watches. But I do like that it comes self-contained in this nice box that I can store it in without needing to put a bunch of loose tools in a box. Now, actually having the experience of getting the parts and building a watch as an experience itself, I quite enjoyed. I had a ton of fun doing this. I've done a small amount of watch repair in the past, but it was a lot of fun. The instructions were fairly well done, relatively easy to follow, a lot of videos, which was very helpful. It did leave out certain portions that I think were relevant for this model in particular, but it felt easy to follow along. Any experience level could most likely handle it. And I definitely sped ahead because I have done this sort of stuff before. It took me approximately 1 hour to do. I did make a mistake at the end that cost me about 15 minutes, and I certainly need to come back. Let's get a little focus there. Come back and take it out and really clean the inside of the case. That was something I did not do a good job of. I did not properly clean the crystal for the front or the back, and because of that, I can still see some dirt in there. Now, part of the experience was getting this broken case back. Now, while that's disappointing, I did reach out to DIY Watch Club on a Sunday, and by Tuesday they had already told me they were going to be shipping me a replacement part, so that's excellent customer service, fast to respond, and very helpful. But now let's talk value. I said we have to wait till after we talk about the experience, because the experience is certainly part of what you're paying for. I think as far as specs go on this watch, this kit costs approximately $280 depending on what upgrades you go for. I think this kit itself costs $280 with the options that I received, and I think the watch does hold value around that price point. Now, obviously, I'm going to say that the crystal would have much rather sapphire crystal, but there are several other watches in my search that had similar costs and did use the Miyota movement, the 8N24. One's in, if I'm saying it right, Aragon, and there's a Tree Hut wooden watch that are more expensive that use the same movement. And then there's the Timex M79, which uses Timex's movement, but it does have an acrylic crystal. So watches in a similar price range with similar specs, that bodes well for the overall value. And I think the experience of actually building it is worth quite a lot. I had a lot of fun. It's something you don't get to do every day. And getting a reasonable set of tools that you can reuse adds some value. So I think the cost of this kit, well priced, but it's only made if you like the watch itself. I quite enjoy this watch, and I'm definitely going to be wearing it out and about. But DIY Watch Club offers a ton of different kits with surprising upgrades, whether it's a ceramic bezel or more dive watch style, some Christopher Ward C60 lookalikes. But I think the value for the watch is there, but you make sure you like the watch. Obviously, at the end of the day, you're walking away with a watch, but the experience is a ton of fun, and I'm very glad I had an opportunity to actually try it. So let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of DIY Watch Club? Have you ever built one? Let me know. I love to hear what you have to say. And once again, a big thank you to Taylor and Peter for getting me this as a present. It was a ton of fun. Thank you guys so much, and it's something I have always wanted to try. So that's all for today. Thank you for watching. See you next time.